All right, so please rise and join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Hey, good evening, everyone. We'll start with the approval of the select board minutes. We have the meeting of April 25th, 2023.
Move to accept.
Okay, there's also the, okay, we'll start with the select board minutes, and that began at 6 o'clock. Motion to accept is made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Any additions, deletions, corrections?
Yes, I have a question, and Bill's not here to comment, but in looking at the votes that are recorded, some were 4-0, some were 5-0, and I wasn't sure if that was intentional, intending to reflect when a vote is recorded by you, or if some of those were errors, because there's only one where there was a noted abstention. So
Okay.
they're all unanimous, but it wasn't clear because some were noted as 4 and some were 5.
Okay, I intend to vote, so.
So should we change those to 5-0,
Yeah, the ones that are,
except for the one where Joe abstained?
so it's. Approval of select board minutes. No, that's correct. That was 4-0.
So we're changing it from 4-0 to.
No, the first page 4-0 is correct because Kurt wasn't here.
Yeah.
Where's the next one? Page 3. No, Kari Clark's report. Approve the liquor licenses. Motion passed 4-0. We've had a full contingent that night, didn't we?
We did.
Okay, so that should be 5-0. And looks like the next one is Bill Sweet Administrator. This is on page 4, the very last line. That should be 5-0. This is the Regional Commission appointment.
There's one above that on
Yeah,
is there? Okay.
Transportation Advisory.
Okay, 5-0. And next page, page 5, up at the top. The wear of the coal, 5-0. Current contractor, I think everything else. Oops. Okay. Did we catch them all?
5-0.
Okay, with those corrections, any others?
It's next to last paragraph, page 5.
Page.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, there's one right there.
Executive session 5. Okay. Good, thanks, Matt. All right. I'll sign this one since I made all of the corrections. Okay, we also had a meeting on April 25th at 5 o'clock on the Public Safety Building Committee. Of all of us are members. Just make sure nobody else is. Okay. And there's no signature sheet, but we can sign on the bottom of this. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Motion's made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. I was here, Joe was here, Sharon, Kurt, and there's Matt. There you are. Okay. Any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Any announcements from board members? Okay. Moving right along. Update from the select board chair. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll be quick. Thank you to everyone who participated in Green Up Day. Our roadsides are looking all bright and sparkly and green instead of trash colored. That's one. Next, June 1st is the deadline for the upcoming edition of the Circle. This will be the last one before summer. So if you have summer events planned, townwide celebration committee, for example, please make sure you have an article to go in, and that's June 1st Circle deadline. I have skip those two. Big thank you to the firefighters and the police and all of the townspeople and the select board members who came to our McKinley Avenue open house last weekend. We had an excellent turnout, I thought, and a lot of good information and ideas exchanged. So thank you. That's what I've got. The other two will come later. Okay, so next is questions or comments from the floor on items that are not otherwise on our agenda. Anybody in the room?
I
BJ?
have a brief statement I'd like to read to the select board.
Okay, you want to come up here?
I can. To the select board of Rutland Town. Much to my dismay, I need to bring to your attention some mistruths printed in the latest edition of the town publication, The Circle. It indicates that in November, a second contractor quit without warning or notice. This is simply a falsehood and untrue. I am that contractor. After failed negotiations with the town and its leaders, I chose not to sign a contract that was unacceptable and offered. That contract was due to be signed by October 1st. I did not sign it, therefore indicating my intention not to continue service to the town of Rutland. The town's cutting edge was picked up on October 19th by the town as requested by the road commissioner. Any shortcomings of service to the town and its community members rest solely on the shoulders of the road commissioner and this select board. To print mistruths in a town-sponsored publication in hopes of covering for any of those shortcomings in services provided by that department shows a lack of respect to the community that it serves. Every department in this town has, without fail, had its budgets fully funded by the taxpayers every March. Every department has more and better equipment than it has ever had, more human resources than ever in the past, and more money than in any time in the town's history. It's time for this board and its department members to step up and provide the services this town has paid for. This town was built by families that didn't make excuses. It's unacceptable for excuses to be made now. Quite simply, do better. The businesses, taxpayers, and community members have paid for it and deserve it.
Thank you, BJ. So that's recorded in the minutes.
Mhm.
Are there any other folks who are done?
Unless there are others.
I don't see anyone else, so come on up.
Must be tonight was designated the evening of discontent.
Well, are you about to?
Well, in a way.
Okay.
Normally I would not be here in this position with this kind of an explanation. And I've been rather scarce around the town. And well, for my own personal reasons, but for the last like 3.5 weeks, my wife has been playing nurse as well as chief lister for the town. She's done a pretty good job. I was diagnosed and still am diagnosed with walking pneumonia, and I'm on some pretty heavy medications to take care of that. And there are some other blood issues that are being worked out by VA, and that's all I'd like to say. But
Well, we wish you a good recovery.
thank you very much, Mary. I appreciate that. In spite of that, I've been able to put in the amount of time that I was capable and wanted to put in with Jim before he went on vacation. And that was some 8 to 10, maybe 12 hours. And the reason that I'm here this evening, and I normally wouldn't be, is that I was rather surprised and quite disappointed to hear matters concerning the transition between a 6-year tax collector in the town who is thoroughly familiar with IT and all of its aspects, and a brand new guy who wasn't, be brought up at a public meeting, which I felt should have been handled administratively. And so, since the decision was made by someone, I am assuming it was the administrator, because he's the one that did it, at a public meeting, then I'm going to respond at a public meeting.
Okay.
Out of courtesy to this board, who I have the greatest respect for, I might add. So, members of the Rutland Town Select Board, I guess the best place to start this reply is to go to the beginning. When I approached my fellow board members in February with interest in the delinquent tax collector position, I was greeted with pretty much unanimous support to take on this role. That was very encouraging. I was told the board's long and previous held position that the statutory elected position was to be totally separate from Rutland town government as to benefits, costs, or other customary appurtenances of elected government office in our town. At that time, I stated that although I disagreed with that position, my intent then and now was to effect a smooth transition from a delinquent tax collector with 6 consecutive years of experience and an IT background of multiple years with major corporations to a brand new entry to the field of tax collection, me. With little formal training in IT or spreadsheet work, but plenty of mental acumen, world experience, people-friendly relationships, and a strong desire to get the job done correctly on behalf of this town. In regard to the above, Jim Schultz offered me his considered advice and training going forward, and we agreed that we would meet together with our town administrator and IT coordinator so that the transition between Jim's hardware and software and my newly acquired desktop computer would be properly and functionally accomplished since the tax deadline was quickly approaching. That would be tomorrow. It was fully understood by both Jim and I that the only one either authorized or empowered to make those changes necessary for this transition in the belly of the town's network server system was Bill Sweet. And it certainly appeared that Bill agreed as he worked with us in this process. Never, I repeat, never in any of this transition of equipment or software was there ever any mention of Bill's, quote, dedicated time versus his just doing his job of providing IT support to a pair of dedicated, longtime Rutland Town elected officials. It was also understood, because I stated so at least 2 times to Bill, that all he had to do was invoice me for the business cards. As for the licensing to be able to access NEMRIC through the Splashtop program, I stated to Bill that every other department of the town has access to this government function at town expense. But we could save this fight for another day because I was interested now and solely in having a functioning IT system to be able to do my job, and he should simply bill me for those 2 items. Now comes the board meeting, and I get blindsided with an accusation by Mr. Sweet to the effect that I was expecting something from the town that was not authorized and supposedly refusing to pay. Nothing could be further from the truth. As I said previously, I stated directly to Bill on at least 2 occasions just to invoice me for the 2 items, and I would pay them. He never at any time indicated that his time, already compensated at a very generous rate by his salary, was going to be double billed to me for his government service that I have already paid for. In all my years of association with this town, I have never experienced such disrespect, arrogance, and superiority from an appointed official, and such pettiness over trivial items that stand in the way of proper functioning of an important department of town government. We should all expect better from those we hire to serve us. None of our employees in any department are authorized to pick and choose who they serve in an employment day. All their hours are dedicated, or should be, to serving the citizens and the public officials elected by those citizens without exception. I am in closing and delivering here, and I have delivered to Kari, my payment for those items I agreed to pay and no more. And I might add that this transition is far from complete, with other IT functions necessary to do this job successfully still waiting on Bill's priorities. I sincerely hope that these issues can be smoothly worked out prior to the issuance of the tax warrants by the treasurer in mid-May. Sincerely, Don Chioffi, delinquent tax collector, Town of Rutland.
Okay,
And
thank
if you
you.
have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Select board members, do you have any questions of Don? Sure, go ahead.
I'm a little confused. Are you hooked up to Nemrick as Don Chioffi now?
No. No, the computer has its own designation downstairs, and that computer designation is under Jim Schultz with his password. And it's been 3.5 to 4 weeks that I have requested that be changed to D Chioffi and my own password be on it. I can use Jim's, and I have had actually numerous conversations with Nemrick, and I have worked with the Nemrick program, which is rather extensive. And as, well, some of you, not all of you, but some of you know the extent of the database that's in Nemrick. It's pretty impressive, really.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The problem is that every single report, status report, delinquency report, turnover report that's generated in the Nemrick system has an indication in the upper right-hand corner of the tax collector. And because that computer has Jim Schultz as its owner, his name is on every single report. That's number one. Number two, I was told before I made a purchase, rather substantial purchase of $700 and some odd of a computer that I'm dedicating solely to tax collection purposes. And it has the new Windows 11 system, which isn't any charm to me because I'm used to Windows 10. But learn as you go. I was told that the town had its own Network 365 program that was more professional, that was a town purchased installation, because I had an option to buy that when I purchased the computer. He said no. So he installed the Network 365 program on my computer as part of the IT transition. However, there are 2 licenses that are required. One is for the Excel program and the other is for the scan program. So I can't scan any checks, any envelopes, when I do turnovers to keep proper record and accounting, because I don't have a scan function because he didn't put it on the computer. And Jim has a rather extensive spreadsheet program that he was willing to give to me. And we can't use that either because you get to the point where you're trying to access Excel and a box comes up saying you don't have access and it has to be under the town's program. That's number 2 or 3, I guess. And number 4, as I realized tonight for the first time, I tried to access my code to get into the back door and it didn't work. So my access to the town that I have as a town employee has been taken away. I don't know why. It is not only improper, it's illegal, because the tax collector function, because of its nature, must be done more at the taxpayer's convenience than the tax collector's convenience. And that is,
But Don, you don't have an office in the building.
I do, because if the computer downstairs goes down, the only way that it can be reset is that I have to come in and go down and physically turn it off and turn it on. That was what was told to me. That's what Jim told me. He said the only reason that you need to have any relationship with that computer at all is if it happens to go down and it's on a weekend and you're working, you will not have access to Nemrick because you can't access.
Refresh my memory. Did Jim have access to the building?
Yes,
At all times?
I believe so.
I don't know that.
Well,
That's something we
I
can check.
don't-
But
I don't-
anyway, you've listed
All
a
I'm-
number of things. They're all going in the record. Bill isn't here, as you can see.
Yes, and I'm sorry that he isn't because I wish he were here to, And I have no other reason for responding this way other than the fact that I thought it should have been handled administratively and it was put on the permanent record. I didn't think it should have been. So I just want my response on the record.
Okay, fair enough. Sharon, did that answer your question that you
Yeah,
asked?
I just, whose job is it to put him into our system? Or have we figured
I
that?
think one of the issue, we were attempting the delinquent tax collector is basically an independent contractor.
Right.
Does need some access and set up some things. I think what Don is describing and what I had understood, what Bill spent 2 hours doing was basically some IT stuff for Don's computer, which is kind of his responsibility. That's how I had understood it.
Well,
Now, I
Yeah.
don't want to debate it because Bill isn't here.
no,
to
I didn't
help
want
us
to debate
out
it. I'm
with
just,
that.
I explained it in here. It was
Okay.
access to the Windows 365 system.
Yeah.
Which is a comprehensive system that,
Oh, I know what it is.
and obviously the towns has more features than the standard over-the-counter system, which is why you all have access to that 365 system.
So
And
Which I
I'm
don't
worried,
use, but that's okay.
that's the
I'm
only,
a little confused.
Okay.
You have to have a proper license to be able to
Yes.
do that. Now,
And
who does that?
And that's Bill, and Don is operating on Jim Schultz's license right now.
Right.
And I don't remember exactly the reason. I think it could be a timing thing.
actually, I'm operating on Howard Burgess's remaining 6 months.
Okay, well, that's
He
the
billed me-
explanation then.
He
because
billed
we
me
didn't want-
pro rata.
Yeah.
Which is $66 a year.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't want to get into that here this evening anyway, and
Okay.
have a future discussion about that because Nemrick finds this quite unusual
Okay, well,
and not standard or best practice, but that's beside the point.
okay.
So is that best settled between you
I don't have Bill here to ask, so I
right?
can't.
So
settle
we're
it
kind of
tonight.
on hold.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we did.
All I know is that in 15 days, I need to have this done so that the proper delinquent tax function can be done. And it can't be done the way the system is set up right now. It just can't.
Any other questions from select board members? Matt?
I think I'll have many in the future and perhaps we need to take this up in a personnel committee or something, which,
Yeah, I
I'd
think
love to
that's
do.
I
probably,
love personnel committee stuff too. Yes. Okay. All right. So
Like to
thank you,
smile
Don.
Smile of the condemned.
And Bill, wherever you are, I'm sorry. I wish you were here so that I could address it personally, but I thank the board for your attention and let's go forward.
Okay,
We've got a
thanks,
lot of
Don.
good business to do. And
Yes, we do.
thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the floor? Okay, what I would like to do with the board's consent is to take up under action needed A, the board to meet with Green Mountain Power to discuss the Northwood Park Act 250 amendment request. So I think Maddie Perry is on the line.
Hi, I've just started my video.
Okay, thank you.
It's a bit of an echo. Not sure if I can do anything about that, but yeah, I'm Maddie Perry. I'm a consultant at VHB, working on behalf of Green Mountain Power, and we have been in communication with Bill Sweet and previously Fred Nicholson in his role as town tree warden regarding a project that Green Mountain Power has, which involves maintenance of of a portion of the penstock for the existing Glen hydropower station. Penstock runs from the Glen Dam down to the powerhouse on Route 7. Was installed in the 1940s, and just due to age, portions of it need to be replaced. A few segments of it had been replaced a few years ago. The proposal is to replace another section this coming summer, which runs past the town's Northwood Park property. GMP does have an easement allowing maintenance and access to the penstock for replacement. However, the regulatory situation is a little complicated because the town has an Act 250 permit, with about 10 amendments to date for the Northwood Park recreational development. And because Act 250 permits run with the land, the town had asked Green Mountain Power to take care of the administrative work of applying for an Act 250 amendment to the town's existing permit to make sure that everything remained in compliance. So while GMP's project is primarily an in-kind replacement of the existing penstock, it does involve some additional work temporarily. There need to be some equipment staging and laydown areas created on the Northwood Park side of the penstock. Although that work is sort of allowed as part of the rights of maintenance and access under the easement, GMP wants to be very respectful of its relationship with the town and apply for this Act 250 permit amendment to make sure that there's no issues with respect to the town being in compliance with its permit. So the town, as landowner, is covered so that the new activity of clearing the land, establishing the temporary laydown areas, the equipment working on the penstock and so forth, is all covered under Act 250. Once the work is done, the laydown areas would be restored. Things would, any recreation trails would be also restored, and conditions other than the trees being cut returned to existing. So we have put together an Act 250.
And we have received your Act 250 application, and Bill did provide copies of it to each board member. And I believe Fred Nicholson, who's our tree warden and was following this, also had a chance to review it. So I think we're pretty familiar with it. And why don't you tell us, I had two questions, and this might help. The first is, are you going to, because of where you're proposing to put the staging area near the penstock on the other side of your road, is that going to require us to close the main loop, which is one of the walking loops in Northwood Park?
I'm going to ask if Dawn is also on this call, or Jake would be able to speak to that best. I do not know for certain if that loop would have to be closed. If the loop that you're referring to is the walking path that is adjacent to the laydown areas, I would think, in the interest of safety of pedestrians, we may want to have some amount of restrictions, or at least warning signs, so that nobody's getting too close to construction equipment while it's active. But I don't have a definite answer at the moment.
Yeah, I would offer this, Mehdi. Bill Jacobowski here with GMP. Again, apologize, I'm not there in person or on video, but my understanding is there may be some temporary closures, during construction activities, during normal construction hours, but there should not be any kind of permanent closure to that system, and there could be some rerouting of the trail to accommodate that as well.
Okay, so we would ask that you work with our Recreation Commissioner, Mike Rowe, because he's the one who is up there and kind of keeps an eye on things at Northwood for us. So, and if a trail has to, I know it's occurred in the past, and we're kind of used to working with you folks on that, but just reach out to Mike Rowe and make sure if the main loop has to be closed, or a portion of it, that the appropriate signage is up, so nobody get stuck 3/4 of the way through and then they have to backtrack. And that would be me probably. So let's avoid that if we can. Or
Yeah,
maybe Sharon. Could be Sharon.
Yeah, we're quite familiar with Mike. We worked with him here in the last, 2 to 3 years about the new trail system that was put in from the Rutland Town School down through our property and along our penstock and over to Grover Drive. So yeah, not a problem there.
Great. Thank you very much. And the only other thing I looked at was to put everything back, mulching and grading and everything once you finish using the staging area. So I did read through your application. I'm a little familiar with the Act 250 process. So I'm fine with it. Those are my questions. So I'll ask if the select board members here have any questions of their own.
I don't, unless Mike does, and you, or you, but other than that, do you have any questions?
I just have them contact me if they're going to, because I know when they did it before, they were off the path and it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Walk the path, the
Okay.
road, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an issue. I think they had put signs out.
Okay.
Warning people, so if they're going to continue with that. I think they're further down when they're working.
There's 2, so that's why I was kind of wondering, but I'll let them coordinate that with you. Mike is here in the room, so he's responding to that. Willing to work with you folks. Yeah. Fred, have you had a chance to look through the application?
I read it this morning. I didn't have any problems with it.
Okay.
It just amazes me the amount of work I have to go.
Well, the trees plus the staging area, I know. And
Staging area is already disturbed. It was disturbed in at least 2 log jobs that I administered over there. So
Yeah. It's there already.
Opening is there. They're just going to put some pipe on it.
Okay. So it sounds like we're okay with it. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 places. So 5 if one of us signs on the bottom, so we can all sign. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Act 250 amendment application of GMP with the town signing as landowner.
Move to approve.
Motion's made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to comment administratively. The signature page does need the signatures both as applicant and landowner, because this is the town's permit that's being amended. The town would actually be both the applicant and landowner. I don't know if every board member needs to sign or just an authorized member as the chair, but it just would need to be both under the applicant and landowner blocks on that form.
Got the original right here. So,
Perfect.
okay. So I think we can all sign because we all feel good about signing stuff. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Sharon's an aye. I'm an aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Joe, are you on?
I am.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you okay with this?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
You'd know if I wasn't.
Yes, indeed, I would. All right. So motion carries and I'm going to circulate the signature page.
So, and on behalf of Green Mountain Power, we'd like to say thank you. The town working with us on this project. We very much would like to get this done during this construction season. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And thanks for partnering with us on the whole Northwood project over the years and also on our pocket park over at Simons Avenue. So
yeah, a totally different subject, but yep, we're definitely on board with folks on that.
okay. All right, that takes care of the biggest part of our packet. So we're more than halfway through, folks. Just thought I'd point that out.
I'm going to sign off, but thanks everybody for your time and consideration.
Thank
Thanks.
you very much.
Same here. Thanks, folks.
Welcome.
Okay, so that takes care of action item A down below, and now I think we can resume our usual. So let's go to Marcia Chioffi, lister, head lister. Good evening, Marcia. Okay, are you there? Okay, we'll come back to Marcia. Is Chris Clark on, town fire chief? Okay. Do you know if he's going to be joining us or no?
What?
Will he be joining us or?
Just trying and he out mowing with Braden and he's gonna
Okay.
can't seem to get through.
Is Kari Clark then? Come on up, town clerk and treasurer.
Thank you.
Here. Keeping an eye?
Yeah.
Building committee? Hey, Kari.
Hello.
Oh, Connor's mowing the lawn.
Oh,
I don't know why are these always closed?
The
I don't know.
blinds? I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I just as soon have them open. Thank you.
It's light in this.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Hey,
Here we go wild now.
Yeah.
tomorrow's tax day.
Mhm.
So it looks like we've already received 88% of our taxes. I'm figuring about if we get everything, which it won't be, but if we do see a lot of people, we're going to take in about 500,000 tomorrow. That's how much we have left. And then a couple days after that, I will make the warrant and give it to Dawn.
Mhm.
For anything that's delinquent. Just a reminder to anyone that's listening to this, it is exactly the day after that the 8% and 1% go into effect. So just make sure that you get your payment to us tomorrow. If not, it's not my fault.
That's right. That's right.
We have been receiving our ballots in steadily. We have about 500 ballots so far. To go along with that, I'd like to remind people to please put their return address and name on the envelope that comes back to us. And no, we're not looking at your ballot and what you voted. We're looking at your name and checking you off the list. So without that, your participation won't count and your vote won't count. So we've already had a handful of people that voted for absolutely no reason. Our polls will be open on the 23rd at our regular places. With one difference in that the results will be hand counted the day after, not the night of. So our BCA members have made the motion and all agreed to come back the next day on the 24th at 10 to start counting in teams of 2. So we have, I think, 8 people coming back to count. So hopefully by that day's end, we'll have results of the election. And see, I think that's about it that I have. Next time I'll have the budget status report ready again for you guys to look at. We are getting toward the end of the fiscal year. So just remember that as we move forward in the next month and a half. The last thing that I brought with me was the contract for the digital records. I don't know if you wanted to get into that right now, but I do want to ask that we don't make a decision tonight, and I
Okay.
do have a reason why.
Okay. And I was going to, what's your reason? Price?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read over the contract really carefully and missed an important point that this company gave us a quote for everything except for the indexing of our old records. So basically, what's the point? Because we want people to be able to access this from home, and a lot of people are looking for the old records, and they wouldn't be able to do so without the index. And so that'll add a cost to the contract that you have in front of you.
Okay.
A significant
Matt.
cost.
So I guess I have a comment on that and I had a couple other questions on the contract, but do you want to get into any of that now or do you want to?
Well, here's my question, because what I was thinking is, given the extensive nature of this, we should probably have town council take a look at it.
Yes.
Well,
And then I could add the price.
we may have some questions for the contractor before
Okay.
he needs to spend time reviewing it.
Okay.
Actually, but
So what's, we've got, so should Kari reach out and say we need a quote on the indexing of the old records and bring the contractor in at the next meeting to discuss these things?
well, I think what he said in the contract was that doing the old records was going to be hourly.
It's
And some of it, he probably,
gave me kind of a ballpark.
yeah, I imagine he's got to look into what they are how
Um,
easy they're going to be to scan and
He needed to come and do some more looking as to how much, how many documents, and he had a whole thing, but the ballpark was kind of scary.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is
Would you
my
like to know the ballpark?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. $100,000.
Oh my God.
That on top of that.
Well, that
On
doesn't
top of this.
that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, if you look at he gave us a price for the last 43 years, which is enough to
do
cover
a full
your
40
standard
cert.
under title standards. And, you know, we were around for 217 years before that. So, and some of those records are going to be tough to scan.
For
I would think.
95,000, I'll go buy a scanner and I can do it if you
So
want.
See that quote, that contract is for the scanning. So
Yeah.
that is the
Yeah.
scanning. It just didn't include this portion that the index, like people couldn't find what they
my
needed
thinking
to.
on that would be we can decide about older records later on if we
Yeah.
feel like we're flush with money, but the purpose of the initial push would be to get stuff online so that title searchers who are doing current transactions can access it online without driving over here. But if people want to do research, and maybe they can handle the drive.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that contract does take care of the current scan and the current index.
Prospectively, everything that comes in as of the date
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, I mean, so many towns that have gone to this are a blend. You go over and from a certain date forward, you use the scanned and the index provided. And I noticed there's machines here that we would need to purchase as well.
Oh yeah. That's all in there.
And then if they need something back further, they go into the card index. And if it's back further than that, they have to go into the general ledger book. But I mean, there's like 3 stages and most towns don't attempt to scan everything because it's, well,
Okay.
besides the city has our very early records.
So what I understand is the scanning, which is included in there, of the older documents, they would be put into an unindexed folder file. So he explained this to me, that if you happen to know the book and page of an older document, then that would be available for you online. If you don't know that, you couldn't search it. You would have to be here in person to do the search. And it wouldn't be by last name in that unindexed folder. It would be by book. So if you knew the book page number was, I don't know, 46, you'd scan through until you got to 46.
Well, that's a limited use.
And that's the older.
Yeah.
That's the older stuff.
So back to what Matt is suggesting. Looks like we still need a piece.
You need what?
We still need a piece from him, right?
The man.
Yes.
If we wanted to go the full route, he would come here and give us the actual quote for the index.
Oh,
But
okay.
other than that, we have everything we need in front of us other than contract negotiations if you wanted to change words, which we talked about in the past.
So does that answers your question? Matt, does it answer yours?
Well, I had a couple other questions that Kari may or may not be able to answer, but perhaps could relay to him and he can answer them.
Sure.
So one was, and there was an initial fee of $21,830. As part of that, of what was proposed is a 60-month term contract.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming, but I think it would be worth verifying that lump sum fee is just for this first time setup and isn't a lump sum fee that would be with every renewal term,
That's a good question.
because it sounded like
After 60 months, but we do pay monthly. Did you see that?
we pay monthly, but it's $270 a month after that, which is only $3,240 a year,
Mhm.
which is a lot less than 21,830 for
Mhm.
math
Mhm.
people. So I just wanted to confirm with him that, going forward, I mean, once your 60 months is up, it's going to be a renegotiation, but
Right.
I presume still what we'd be negotiating about would be just a monthly rate and not an additional lump sum. But I don't know. Maybe
Certainly.
the answer is, oh, well, with every 60-month contract, there's a lump sum and a monthly fee.
It's a really
Well,
good
I
guess
guess
you'd wanna
the
know
answer
that.
is we need him to come in and
Well, these are easily asked, first of all, by email. Is there another question?
I think I would prefer to have it in writing rather than verbally from him. So
me too.
So email's good.
Matt, if you could convey Matt's question.
Oh, yeah.
Just to confirm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one. Second was, perhaps this is a bill question, but there was a quote in there for a couple of computers. And it seemed like what they were saying is, well, gee, you don't have to get these, but if you don't, we don't guarantee it's going to work, in which case we may charge you more money later. But I was just looking at the specs and they seemed like run-of-the-mill
Yep.
equipment with
I
a
did
large
ask that question.
price tag.
Yep.
So is this stuff that we could get on our own to
Yes,
build
it
it
is.
set up and we wouldn't?
Yes, it is. I do know that answer
Great.
because I asked the same question
Okay.
and we can get it, if we can get it cheaper.
Or I would think
Yep.
you could get that stuff for a fraction of that price,
Yes.
but that
Correct.
assumes that Bill's going to set it up or somebody's going to set it up other than COTS.
Yeah.
And then the last piece, they indicate what subscription prices are. And I do title searches, but I guess my understanding is here, I know COT does a number of towns, but I take it you subscribe by town. Yes. Do we know?
Well,
Because otherwise I don't know
Because
how they
actually-
check.
And I go on as a guest.
Right.
I don't subscribe and I only go on to find out if the document I sent in has been recorded.
Right.
So I don't
I
subscribe.
don't think
Maybe
you have
do.
to subscribe. You can pay by the day.
For if you don't download the document,
Yeah.
or right, you can,
Right.
you can do per
Mhm.
use. So I guess the question is there any way that he can give us an idea of what our revenue split might be? I don't know if there's a comparable town out there where you can say, well, here's a town that's of similar size and they've got our program and here's what they got in revenue.
I'm certain.
Because
that he
obviously
could
that
probably
revenue is going to offset whatever the
generate
cost
that.
ends up being.
Will you do me a favor?
And so I do those in an email? Yes.
Yes, please. Particularly the last one, because the first two I got, but all of them if you want. That way I can just kind of send it off to him and he can answer it.
Okay. And then could you, once you get those answers, does the board agree with me that we should probably have our town attorney look at this?
I think so.
Probably.
We're in for a bunch. Matt, are you okay with that?
It's probably worth spending a little bit of time on. It's a pretty big price tag, but I
Yes,
think it'd be helpful if we get these clarified first before he
Yes.
spends time and asks the same questions.
right, okay.
My billable rate right now is cheaper than his is later, so.
Okay. Okay. Good. Any other questions on COTS? So we'll put this off. There'll be an email request from Matt that Kari will send on to the contractor to see if we can get answers, and then we'll have our town attorney look at the contract so that we understand it.
I have one question.
Yes, please, Joe.
The funding for this, I don't remember if we budgeted in this budget, next budget, and I'm not sure how we're paying for this or where it's coming from.
Kari?
I'm right there with you, Joe. We did not budget this fiscal year. We did not budget for the next fiscal year. Which is why this isn't something that needs to get done right away. First of all, we need a plan, obviously, where this is going to come from. So I can't really say much to that yet. I mean, we have a lot of things up in the air right at this point in
Yes,
time.
we do.
Mhm.
So, okay, so back, if we don't have a place where the money's coming from, are we being premature in pursuing this right now?
Probably on his
I think the upfront
quote's
is
gonna change.
the upfront expense is a capital improvement, isn't it?
Yes,
So then you just have to worry about the monthly expense.
Mhm. And that would be maybe when we do budget season in the fall.
Yeah, what we need is, we need to have a dollar figure, and so we've got to do what we're doing in order to be able to budget for this, because we got to have some idea, and then how we're going to pay for it, and how we're going to do it. The other thing that I think we should figure in when we budget and when we do this is this is going to go up. I do believe this quote that we have now is more expensive, I think, than when we started a few years back. So that's just, this is all important stuff. You have to know where we're going and what it's going to cost us to get there before we can put it in a budget. So I think we're going about it the right way. We just, need to figure out how soon we want to do this. Right now, the soonest we could possibly do this would be a year from July 1st of this year. That would be the soonest we could act on this.
I
That's
agree, Joe.
Assuming
Okay.
we can't wedge it into the current budget, but
Yeah.
that upfront may be too big.
I'm glad that he mentioned that. I did do some numbers in it. I don't know if you guys did, if you had old documents of our quotes from COVID year, but boy, did we miss a huge opportunity. Huge,
yep,
like by a significant amount of money. It
I
really
know,
did
we did.
increase.
we did.
I'll
It
just,
was the makeup of the board at the time.
that's okay. I'm not blaming anybody. I just thought I put it out there that it was quite a difference.
I know, and that's, it goes for a lot of things. If we wait, it
Sure
usually
does.
ends up costing a whole lot more.
Sure does.
Is that the upfront, the 21,000 that's gone up, or the monthly, or everything?
Yeah,
It's all gone up. It went up about 40 to 60 grand in like a year and a half's time.
Yep.
Yeah.
okay. Anything else?
On that note.
Other than we'll put the COTS thing aside. We've got some questions that need to go, and we're not going to take any action on that tonight. Anything else?
I'm all set.
Okay, thank you very much. Wait, while you're still there, we
Oh,
have
yes.
received a request for a liquor license, third class, for East Restaurant LLC. This is
It's right by Home Depot.
It's the
the little
Asian food place.
the
there.
Asian food place right by Home Depot. So Chief Dumas, no problems. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion's made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
I
Aye.
And Joe's in favor. No one's opposed, so. And we can all sign this because there's lots of room. Okay. Do we have any other?
That was the only
That was
liquor
it?
license.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Delehanty, our first constable.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Show and tell.
Show and
Okay.
tell. Oh yeah, I saw this a couple weeks ago when I was up
Oh,
there.
here it is. Okay. Oh. Okay, so for those of you who don't, we just a bunch of photos showing trash, and as someone who just greened up, this just makes my blood boil.
Right?
Did you just green this up?
Greened this up, but
Did somebody green this up?
So these photos I took on the 2nd.
okay, that was before green up day.
Yeah. I was just there before I came to the meeting and it's the same. So nothing's changed
It
there.
was not greened up.
So, on the 2nd, Jason from the Rowe crew had reached out to me and advised, I'm guessing the boys must maybe up that way, on Boardman Hill at the pull off. And as you can see in these photos, this is what they saw. And of course, what I saw when I got there. The trash is everything from children's toys and
Oh.
tires and bottles and cans. And one of the major concerns, and I don't think the pictures do it justice, is it's getting into the river, the stream there. There's like, you name it, it's down in there.
Where is this?
So just off Quarter Line
Boardman Hill.
on the Boardman Hill, there's that where my truck is in the first picture, just a little pull off there.
Yeah.
It's just down the road on the right.
Straight in the bottom of the dip.
Okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of it looks like it was dumped there on the 2nd. Some of it looked like
Yeah.
it probably been there a while, even a couple years. I know a camera had been set up to kind of capture some of this activity, which is not a long-term fix for this. The problem is, unless you get a plate or a real good description, trying to shag calls for people who are legally dumping is going to be difficult all around. I think we need to come up with some sort of a permanent fix. And I know nothing of when it comes to roads, and you guys can answer this, but is there a need for that pull off there?
I was just wondering that.
I don't know if that's the answer.
That's a snowplow turnaround. Or you guys turn around on top of the hill now?
Turn around on top of the hill. So I don't really see a need for it. We put a camera up there. There's no good place to put a camera there, so we put it in the best place we could. We can't get, there's just the way you pull in there and the camera, you just never get a plate ever. It's not, the line isn't right. We've seen incredible stuff there but you just can't make out anything distinguishable.
Joe?
My thoughts are, is if that does not interfere with Dave's maintenance of the roads, make the pull off go away. We have to, there's going to be one-time extensive cleanup that's not going to be fun, and get rid of everything, and then either build whatever we have to do to make it go away. I'm assuming we've got to talk to a landowner because somebody owns this dump.
Won't they just dump it from the road? Anyways.
So I drove the whole length, and there's one spot that's a problem, and it's right here.
Yeah.
There's no other
Whose
pull off.
land is that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Might be Holivas.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's people there at 2:00 in the morning. There's people there at noon. It's around the clock.
Yeah, there's no prime time. It's all day and all night. Yeah. So I drove the entire length of Boardman Hill just to kind of answer that question, Matt, is there any other areas of concern? And there's just not. This is
I'm
it.
just wondering if that's the place where you were dumping your trash and the pull off went away, wouldn't you just park in the middle of the road at night?
Has there been a problem further down? Will they just go down Quarter Line Road and stuff?
I'd be honest with you, I didn't look.
We haven't had a problem on Quarter Line Road at all.
Okay.
A little bit more higher traffic, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So, is that something Highway Committee can handle with our highway commissioner? Just talk to the landowner and see if, whose permission we need to close this thing off. My hunch is the landowner will be fine with it. And we'll clean up the thing and. Is that okay, Joe?
Yeah, that's fine with me. I think that's gonna be the best solution.
Yeah.
You know, and if it redevelops somewhere else, then, you know, then we can maybe do some more aggressive, monitoring some way. If it requires somebody camping out there every randomly or something, I don't know. But it's just an eyesore, and that stuff is really, you know, not good for our town.
Nope. Okay.
For identifying names and.
So we'll pass this issue on to, thank you, Mike, on
Absolutely.
to but stay there because I'm sure you've got more.
Yep.
And hopefully you'll work with the highway committee and with the road commissioner and see what we can do.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be on you guys, Dave. Like, if you're gonna do a day of cleanup, I'll gladly partake in that, whatever you guys need. So I don't want you to feel like it's on the three of you. So I'm sure we can find some people.
And we've cleaned it up several times, and the next day it looks like we were never there.
Yep, I totally believe it. It's wild.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Right. So, all right.
Dyer Lane down there still getting dumped on.
I was down there the other day. I believe there was like half of a shed, and that's gone. So I don't know if it got used for alternative housing or whatever. There's
Okay.
probably 15 tires down there, but that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, they dragged it out in the woods, set it back up.
These usually get thrown on Creek Road, but somebody cleaned them up before we got out there on Green Update. Did the highway crew pull the tires?
We've got, I think 8 tires total or 10 tires total.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, well,
New tires are too expensive, so they keep running the old ones.
okay, Mike, back to you.
Yeah, and the other thing I had was just once again, Northwood Park at dusk everything's been going great. People are following the park rules. For the most part, there's not any traffic up there when I get there, but if there is, I usually hit the horn and they come out of the woods and walking the dog and whatever it might be. But and then they're good about it and everybody leaves. So I haven't seen a ton of dogs at night, but the ones that I have seen have been on leash. So far so good. Things are going well up there. So
Good. That's what we like to hear.
Yep. So and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, absolutely.
Ed Dumas, Town Police Chief. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
Couple things. Thanks for showing up at the last Saturday. Appreciate you guys being there.
What was a good
It was.
good event?
I thought it was far better than I thought it was going to be.
Yes. Did I give you? Okay, good.
And
So
your daughter
last,
did a great job. Your daughter did a great job videoing that.
So we have 62 calls for service, 3 traffic stops. Also, Lynn gave me stats. Apparently Lynn took stats back. No, yeah, she did. So I'm going to give you the figures for April down at the south end of the town. We're at like I think 68% of our calls were down there from memory. They've gone down significantly this last month,
Okay.
like drastic. With my breath, I know things have picked up a lot in the cities. I think they've transferred their habits to
The Bardwell House.
That's fine.
Yeah.
yeah
Apparently.
into the city at this point in time.
That's fine.
But time will tell. We'll keep an eye on it. I'll get those stats to you the next time around. They were in this here, but they're not now. Anyways, anything on the calls for service? You guys want any questions on it? The other thing would be that I need to ask about is Ted applied for basically it's e-ticket equipment grant.
It's so you can put printers and readers in our cruisers, so you just can read the license and you print out the ticket right in the cruiser, so it saves a lot of writing. And it costs like $5,125.70. We have to agree to spend that money up front, and then there's 100% reimbursement on it. So we will spend, if you guys agree to it, we'll spend that money, but we'll get reimbursed. And that's from the Vermont Department of Public Safety, the federal source of non-state subrecipient grant.
Did you apply for that one last year? I feel like I remember that.
I think we tried to apply for it, but
Yeah.
they couldn't get,
one through the LCT.
yeah.
We tried to
Oh,
get with our explanation
Right.
and it didn't work.
they caught us,
At the
yeah.
time before that, we couldn't get anybody to get back to us on what we needed for the printers and the scanners. So, yeah, we couldn't get it. But this time we have that. So I guess I need your a vote, yay or nay on we spend the money to get it back.
So do we get the grant or have we
Yeah, we
just
did get
applied
the
for
grant.
it?
We just need
We
you
did
to,
get it.
we just
Okay.
need you to authorize that we can do it.
Okay, is there one signature or 5 signatures?
I want to say it's just one that Teddy has to sign because he's applied.
Teddy
to get- We
signed.
just need your permission at this point.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion. 100% reimbursable, eh?
That's what they're telling us.
Okay,
So move.
motion's made.
Second.
Okay, the hesitation is from people who are afraid of getting an e-ticket, I suspect. So, any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion to accept this 100% reimbursable grant for e-ticket equipment, please say aye.
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 Aye,
Joe, are you an aye?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
Couple things, Ted applied.
Oh, Marcia, we'll come to you in a minute, okay?
Oh, we skipped her.
Yeah, we did call on her. I'll be with you in a minute. Go ahead.
So the department was notified yesterday that the assistance to firefighter grant the Deputy Washburn applied for did not make the review. This was the safety equipment for the new public safety on the fire department's side. There was one question which received a 1 point low priority answer. And with the grant being at 80% downturn rate, if you got a low on this one question, he didn't answer correctly. So that makes a big difference apparently in getting the grants. We can still apply for it this October
Okay.
and reapply for it. And Ted has learned that I forgot the language he used, but it was something about this was for like a news station, but they was something they wanted continuing. Some simple thing. It just made it a low priority. So if you get a low priority on that one thing, you're 80% failure rate. So the guy said also to get in touch with them.
Okay, well, thank him for his efforts on that. And yeah, I mean, the timing might be right to reapply in the fall.
The Homeland Security Advisor reviewing a grant application for our department side. They'll notify us if it approves. We did this here. And also, we would like to thank the United States Sheriff's Deputy Association for their grant, safety grant, which gave the department 2 sets of breaching equipment. This equipment is used for an event of emergency for an entry into a building. Hologram bars and I think sometimes cutters for cutting chains and whatnot. Unfortunately, we have to think of the things that people do.
Yes.
Just trying to play firefighter.
That sounded like fire equipment, but
It is, but
yeah.
apparently
Make sure
somebody
you got
along
a
the way,
flat-headed axe.
apparently someone along the way decided to take and lock up the doors so the cops couldn't get in while they were trying to do things to people. So now we have to have firefighter gear along with everything else. Other thing is we haven't got together on the committee about regarding the pay matter for workman's comp and all that stuff.
Okay. So we do need a personnel committee meeting.
I don't know if you want to do it there or you want to do the police committee.
Oh, police committee. Yeah.
It doesn't,
I
I
think
mean,
it's the same committee.
Good point. It's you and me, isn't it? Okay.
Dual purpose.
so the
Don't
issue
look
is
so happy, Matt.
it's coming to the end of the fiscal
Your
year,
math.
which is
Yes.
June 30th.
Yeah,
And an officer, if he gets the time off, he won't have any time to take his time off because he'll lose it by the time.
Yeah.
1st of July comes by. If we wait too long, then we won't have any officers work at the end of the year because,
right. They don't want to lose their time off, so they'll take it instead. Okay,
so we're all kind of in that same boat. And also maybe that, well, when we get to that committee, I'll discuss
yes.
further. I won't go here.
Okay, so we need to have a police personnel committee meeting between now and our next select board meeting,
That would be ideal.
which is the 22nd, because we're meeting on the Monday before the special vote. So, who else needs to be involved? Me and Matt and you and Lynette?
Probably doing that.
Okay. All right, so,
Imagine the police department. There's not that many of us, David.
I mean, if the police department wants to come, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so we need to find a time we can meet.
You can email me this week or text me, call me.
Yep. Yep.
One other matter we had, it was, our SRO car for the town was having difficulty, I think, turning to the left. It was like sticking or something. So we brought it to the garage. They looked at it and it's, needs a whole new front end, which is, 10 grand. Yeah. Okay. So at some point, maybe we have it in that police committee meeting, we can talk about that car and what we can do with it and how we can plan to go forward. I do not want to spend $10,000 on a 2014 car.
Yeah.
We're just not going to.
Just keep turning right.
Can't use it for NASCAR. By the way.
Well,
Roundabouts. That's the
take
answer.
notice when you're fleeing the police.
Yeah.
Big sign.
Why is that
Yeah, we're still
going
using
right
it, but
all the time?
it's definitely not, only for non-emergency purposes at this point in time.
Good to know when I'm going down Post Road first thing in the morning. Late for jazz band, you know.
Okay. So we'll set up a meeting and
Okay.
we'll find some time. While you were there, let's see, a couple of things. I had prepared and Bill distributed a frequently asked questions 2-pager, so double-sided pager on the public safety building. I would take out the one change I would make is to take out the sentence referring to the bulletproofing. I just take out the whole sentence.
Please.
And then we'll deal with whatever after that. Any other changes that the select board might want to? Yes.
Suggestion that a sentence be added to number 3.
Yep.
Indicating that the actual increase in borrowing, or indicate what that number is above the amount that was previously authorized.
So this
I
is the
think
one where
that's
it's like
the-
under 400,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think that's the one place where there may be a lack of understanding.
Okay. Good. Whatever that-
Mary,
Yes.
I haven't seen the list, but one thing that should be on there or explained is that the $262,000 contingency money will not be used. You know, it'll only be borrowed or used in the case that we miss something in designing the building. Cause that's $250,000 that we won't have to borrow. And that you take that off from the maximum that we said we put the limit on, that makes that number look a lot better. And I've had a number of people ask me about that. And that's something that, we really need to explain. You know, and just a comment I'm going to make since we're talking about this is that realistically, we should have had our informational meeting last Tuesday because the ballots were received on Monday and Tuesday to most residents. And most people are going to have voted prior to the 22nd. And because this is basically a mail-in thing, so that might be a little miscue on the board's part for our scheduling. But I think we need to make very clear to folks that there is a large amount of money in there that's basically insurance in case police, fire, or God forbid our architect miss something in this building, because any contingency fund for the construction is on the contractor. And I know they have an amount. If we saw the breakdown of their original bid, there is a contingency fund for anything they might have missed or cost overruns or whatever. So we have to be very important that the voters know that there is a large sum there that won't be borrowed unless absolutely necessary, and that gets that borrowed amount down much further. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joe. That will, a final sentence would fit. The last sentence right now in number 11 is, we will also try our best not to use the 5% contingency of $262,000. So you want one more sentence after that, something to the effect that we won't use this unless absolutely necessary.
Right, like that. Yes, something to that effect, because it's just there for an emergency, and it inflates the price of the building by $250,000. That has to be there. You have to show that you're doing it, but that is an amount that more than likely will not be used.
Okay.
Thanks.
One other thing, there was just a typo in number 10. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was supposed to say somewhere, but it said something else.
If we build elsewhere, we would also have.
Surety.
Okay. So with those, are we all okay?
Right here. Building some else.
Something else. Oh, somewhere. Okay. Okay. So the select board all okay with posting these on our Facebook page and website?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are we gonna get that video up?
And we also now, thanks to Amber Dumas, we have a video that I circulated among the select board. Same question. It shows our police chief and our fire chief with addressing some of the shortcomings of the space that they are presently in. And I'd like to also have that uploaded to the town's webpage and Facebook page, but I wanted you folks to see it first, and Matt has some questions or comments.
Oh, I just would like to have it posted so we can start sharing it.
Okay.
I have the thumb drive against the bill. If you can,
okay.
It's the format's not good. Let me know, and Amber will take care of it.
Okay.
I think it would also be useful if you can finagle an interview with Keith Whitcomb with some of these clarifying comments.
Yes.
It might be helpful to have that in the paper in the next week.
My plan is to send the list, do a quick letter to the editor I'll get it in tomorrow morning, and just tell townspeople there's more information. I agree with Joe on the timing, but remember, we had some other stuff going on too, which is the open house at McKinley. And we just, in an ideal world, we would have had everything done a month ago, and that didn't happen. So thank you again.
It's the first time since I've been on the board that we've had a situation like this where we've had to get information out and had a special election that's as critical as this. And, you're bound to make some mistakes. And I didn't think of it, and I didn't realize it until last Monday when the ballots came and Rose and I were sitting in the living room voting. And I said, we should have we're going to be a little behind here, but hopefully, with all the work that everybody's done with the Facebook and the town webpage and the visits at the transfer station and the stations, we are getting the word out there, and that's very important. And we'll do the best we can.
And wherever we have, I cornered 3 Rutland Town voters in church the other day. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God, attacking people in church.
I know. It's shameless of me.
Shameless.
This just reminds me of how
Did you get a good response?
Yes.
Then it was worth it.
Absolutely. This just reminds me of had a related question for Kari earlier that I forgot, which is that if people are sending in ballots with mistakes, are they being given an opportunity to correct those? Do they get a call in a period of time to fix? Yeah.
Okay, so we will post these links and I'll
Mary?
do a letter to the editor. Yes, Joe?
Well, Matt's comment about the ballots brought up a question that I wanted to ask Kari, and I didn't write it down. And does she have a relatively, what would be the drop dead date that a voting ballot can be put in the mail and assured that it's going to get to the town office by Tuesday? That is something that is very critical, because if somebody votes Monday and puts it in the mail, there's a good chance it's not going to make it to the town clerk. So I'm wondering what that drop dead date is, and we probably should include that in that list of stuff that we're going to upload, the frequently asked questions, that if you're voting by mail, mailing your ballot in, make sure that it's in the mail by, I was thinking, the 18th, which is Thursday of next week. But does that sound good?
I don't think we
No.
can tell people.
Wait, Carrie's got a response. There's a problem with that.
Well, I don't, the mail is a problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That is.
I would just suggest if they're cutting it short, they need to drop it in the Dropbox.
Okay.
And they have until the 23rd at 7 o'clock to do that. So.
Okay.
Here's a test case. Did you get my tax payment yet?
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you put it in the mail?
Well, I have to go back and look, but last week, probably Thursday, maybe Wednesday.
So I guess, well, let me ask Kari this one. If someone's not sure, I know it's a hassle, but can they call the office on Monday to make sure their ballot has arrived?
Yeah, we get plenty of phone calls
Okay.
to see if your ballot has arrived.
Okay.
Is there still an online check for that too?
Yes.
Since the voting places are open on Tuesday, then folks could bring the ballots there, because we are having the polls open. Okay.
Yeah.
We just made sure that everything that I could think of that could be shortcomings that we discussed tonight, and I think we've got most of them.
Okay. People can always show up and vote on Tuesday, May 23rd. And if they show up and it shows that they've already voted, that means they sent their ballot in and it was counted. But if it doesn't, then they're there and they can vote. So I think we got it covered.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And no, you can't wait until Wednesday, even though we're counting the ballots Wednesday. It must be received by 7 p.m. on May 23rd. Okay. Okay.
Any more questions for you?
I think those take care of the things that I
I
wanted
don't think
to.
most of those questions were yours.
I would like to say one more thing is, if it wasn't for my wife doing the babysitting, so Amber could do this, it wouldn't have got done. So, thank you.
Thanks,
you
Shelley.
so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This is quite a group effort. I mean, I must say, I know the visits to the transfer station, the signs are out on the roadsides. Well, not quite on the lawns. The banners are up, or there's signs on the fire station, the McKinley Avenue one, you and I up at the transfer station, and on and on. So this is
a good time.
We did have a good time. We had a good visit. And lots of people came to McKinley, and there were a lot of questions, and fair questions. I mean, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt and I were standing there with the map in between us and doing this little debate. So I think that was pretty helpful to a couple of voters there. I don't know who got the vote, but
see which way we swung them.
But people are getting information and they're asking for it. So this is our last barrage here. And okay. So thank you, Chief. John Paul? Oh, Marcia, we need to go back to you. Thank you. Marcia Chioffi, our head lister.
Hi, Mary. Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
Yes, there's our office is really progressing smoothly with Jack McCamley online. And tomorrow we are going over to West Rutland to the Valor meeting. And it's going to be a visual time. And oh God. And we are working with the state with Vermont Pie. Vermont Pie is not up to snuff. We've encountered many different, we've encountered many different adages, just not, Vermont Pie is not, Vermont Pie is not falling into the NIMRIC system. And Christy Harris has been invaluable to us and helping us with transitioning from Vermont Pie into NIMRIC into the new system.
Okay. Well, thank you for your diligence on this, Marcia. And I'm glad Jack is working out. I popped my head in the door and you guys were headed into yet another training. So I'm really impressed with the amount of work you're both doing to figure out this new system. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sorry that I didn't acknowledge you at that time, but we were getting into some deep training. So
no, I knew that. I knew you were coming in and you were trying to get online. So I'm perfectly understandable.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Okay. Is John Paul on?
He's not.
Okay.
I know I talked to him earlier. He was going to be on, so.
He was on, he's not anymore.
Okay. Well, if he pops up again, we can come back to him. And Barbara, noise pulling? She has not made it yet. Okay. Mike Rowe, Town Rec Commissioner. Rec Director.
How are you all?
Good.
Don't look at me like that. I have a couple things. I have a few things. First, thanks to the highway guys for cutting the tree and getting rid of it in the pool area. Thank you very much. And your help with charging up the batteries of stuff that I wanted to turn over. I took care of that. I bought something for it. Thanks to Bill and Sharon for your legwork on the field that we had taken care of. So hopefully we are slice seeding that on Friday for both fields. And so maybe by August, we'll see some grass growing. We'll do what we can. We'll put some fertilizer down after and we'll just plan to go at it from that point forward. But thank you for that. And thank you to Lawn Master for taking care of us and getting the work done. We'll be power washing the pool this weekend. So I had to talk to Dave. He's going to drop off the power washer, which means we're the next step to filling it, which means the next step to summer, which means fun. We are booked pretty solid at the pool for the summer with groups. They're all starting to come back now after taking a couple of years off. So that's great. That's just more income and just people enjoying the park in general and the pool in general. Baseball games started this week. Last week was kind of like a rain out. Shocker. So they're there. The schedule's online. Bill was at one earlier. Bill, how was it?
Great.
Gotta like that grade 1 to no, you were grade 3, 4. 3, 4. Walkathon, I bet. But that's good. So they're starting and everyone seems to be enjoying that. So please check out the schedule online. Go check out a game, support your local youth would be fantastic. Other than that, I don't think I have too much. We're just rocking and rolling and mowing and the new mower works really well, by the way. Yep. Broke that out the other day.
Don't use the word break, please.
broke. I didn't say break, but I broke it out.
I'm
I
hypersensitive about
deployed it.
this.
Thank you.
Just
I
saying.
deployed the mower. That sounds even weirder.
Does
but
does it turn left?
only when I'm getting chased. And I can't wait to drive by her tomorrow. I'm gonna have some fun with that. I drove by her this morning. I stopped right by her and I just put my hands like this and kept driving. I do different stuff to her all the time. She's a sweetheart. But anyway, so Matt, you might want to try it. Have fun. You're getting a little bored driving down there to PS man. No, she does a great job. She slows traffic there. So thanks to Angie for that.
Okay. Any select board questions of our rec director? No. And rec committee, I know you met last week or the week before.
We did. I think you reported.
I think you did. I think that was
Spot,
covered
yes.
before. Okay, very good.
So we're all clean and go.
Okay.
I have one question for you. Fireworks. I heard roundabout. So what is going on? Because we were doing it ourselves and now we're not. And what's
Correct.
the date and all that? So if
Yes, Bill,
they're
July 2nd, Sunday.
okay.
So we will need if the police would coordinate, please, with
So
the
we
rec
will chat
department.
and get that all figured out.
Okay.
And we'll take care of that. So that is now, and they're gonna go down back.
North Star.
It's North Star.
Okay, but I'm kind of cautious of the field space now. So anyway, it is what it is. We're doing the fireworks there. I'll chat with them and just see if there's something, because I don't want to.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to clean up after that. I mean, they can't do it in the middle of the night. They
No,
don't see
no, no.
everything.
No, no.
And just the actual whatever's going on there is not healthy. So as long as I know the date, we'll take care of it. We'll make it work. I do have all my lifeguards hired for the summer, and I will give you that list next time. I'm just finishing up with
How many coming back from last year, Mike?
I have 11 coming back. I carry 14. So I have 11 coming. Someone just called me the other day and asked to come back, which was great.
Good.
So I hired 3. So we'll run with 14. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. All right. Next is Dave Sears, Road Commissioner.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Last week was a bit damp. But what? Yes, humidity was quite high. At the end of the last board meeting that Friday, our new to us truck was delivered, so that kind of gave us something to tinker with when it was pouring sideways. So we've kind of been working on that on and off. As of last Monday, we went to 4 10-hour days. I meant to mention that at the last meeting and it was gone. So we've been working on plow damage. I hate to say this, but I think we're done. Probably not. But I think we finished up what we had on the list today.
Okay.
So if anybody else calls, then we'll take care of that. We put up new school and pool signs, not without a little bit of Chinese fire drill, but we got it in the end.
Okay.
They came as Town of Rutland School, which pretty much blew the roof off the place. So we got it fixed, but amazing. Town Line Road. The final stages of that are underway. Fuller was in end of last week and beginning of this week. They got everything reclaimed and started yesterday and finished today with the base from Killington Avenue to Gleason Road.
Okay.
They're pulling out. They got someplace else to be tomorrow, and then should be back on Thursday, and they're going to top the entire stretch. No seams, so we can run down and run back. That'll be the end of, hopefully the end of, well, we got driveways and that kind of stuff, but that's the major part of that culvert project will be behind us.
I
Hopefully
did
that's-
I went down there, 2 weeks ago, I guess, headed up north and looked like it was under control. Things were going fine. So
Yeah, they're doing well. We got, there's like 10,000 driveways up there, so we got a bunch of driveway stuff to do and all the edging and all that stuff, but that's just part of the deal.
Okay.
There was a rather large pile of fill up at out back by the brush pile down around in the back where we keep our topsoil and stuff. So we've just been using the grizzly and kind of screening that, trying to open that up, because when we do East Pittsford Road, we're going to have a lot of millings and we need some place to put them, and I don't have any place to put them. So we're kind of screening that, putting it out to the side, and we can use that for fill for whatever. So
okay.
Kind of chipping away on that. We had a tree go down in the middle of a sunny day on Amanda Drive. Go figure. Yesterday we spent the morning doing the green up day patrol. We got 187 bags, 6 tires, and 2 bags of dog poop.
Thank you. That's a lot, but people really pitched in. So
Yeah, I was really surprised, coming from my other life, there's like no participation in that
here
in the city.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very, very little. There used to be a lot, like the Boy Scouts did a lot.
Yeah.
Now nobody really does anything. So I didn't really know what to expect here, but I was pretty surprised by the amount of participation. It was pretty impressive.
People can be, really militant about their road, as you probably have found out down on Creek Road.
I've seen.
Okay.
And Friday, we had a highway committee meeting. Joe wants to jump in.
Yep, this would be a good time. Joe?
Okay. So basically, we talked about the Simons Avenue issue. The next point the next event there would be we're going to try to get a hold of and coordinate a meeting with the highway committee and the state of Vermont, and we'll have to do a site visit and go down there and take a look at things and see if making that into a more of a T'd intersection will help. We're going to have to talk to some landowners, so it's going to be a little bit of an involved thing. Both Dave and I agree. And Kurt was unable to make the meeting because he was trying to save a dump truck that was trying to burn up. So my condolences to you, Kurt, on the loss of a piece of equipment, because that really sucks. But anyway, that's where we are with that. We're not sure if anything we do there is going to adequately slow traffic down. It's just a tough situation, so we'll make some attempts to see what we can do to make that better. We discussed the road project from that we had talked and we abandoned down there on the south end of town, basically from Aldi's driveway to going down Ranbury and then eventually to Farrell Road. So Dave has a little input tonight. He did get a hold of VHB and probably talked to Evan. I told him to just bring what he had and run it by us, and we'll make a plan from there. And we also discussed a personnel issue that Dave is going to address. And pretty much that was the extent of our meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Dave's passing out the.
So this
Thank you.
This is a copy of an email that Evan Dietrich sent to Bill back in March of 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you guys saw this. Obviously, I wasn't here, but I explained to him that we might want to pull this off the back shelf and blow the dust off it and move forward. I told him we had a little bit of money. There's some money in the budget for this year, and there's money budgeted for next year. There's $30,000 budgeted for continuing this project. He said roughly that's about ish what it would take to get to the next phase, which is this list here. He said that they quoted, and it says down at the bottom, they quoted back in 2018 when they first began this project about $175,000 to get all the wetlands permits and the, the Act 250 permits and all of the stuff that goes along with trying to get this thing through. He said those prices obviously are north of 175,000. So just back of the mind, kind of keep in mind 250 to somewhere. He said, I said, 225 to 250. He's like, yeah, probably in that ballpark to do all of the legwork to get all the permitting in place and get this thing ready to put out to bid. So,
and Joe, was the question about, because we didn't have anything, any drawings or documents or anything up to that point where the plug was pulled.
Right. So they're at the point where they need to do some more design stuff. That's where this 30 grand comes in. If we decide to go forward, they would like to have a meeting with the board and make sure that everybody's on board with what they want to do. And that, he said that 30 grand would closely cover what they need to get to the next step.
Up to, but not including any of the final design.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that would get us, I think, to that point, where we would be, I guess the feasibility of this, and we would be at the point where the next step would be the permitting. And that's pretty much in line where I thought we were. We originally budgeted $125,000. We spent about $85,000, so there had been about 40 left, and then we prematurely pulled the plug on the project, and basically the $85,000 was lost because we didn't take possession. And that's what I really want. I like the idea of him coming in or being online or however he wants to meet with us, so we can clarify that if we spend another 30 or 40,000 and get that preliminary stuff, do we take possession of what they've done? And then should we go forward with the permitting, we'll have those original documents and their original findings. That's what we did not get. And that's the part that, we really shortchanged the town by not finishing to that step 2. So I'm all in favor of scheduling to get them in and move forward to that point.
Okay. So are you talking about in front of the full select board or the highway committee?
I do the full board.
I think we don't need to meet as a committee because the explanation that we have and Dave just provided us, the next step is to sit down with the governing body intact, 5 of us, listen to what they have to say and what it'll get us, ask our questions, and then give them the yay or nay to move on with the next step. I think this is important, especially because I keep hearing these rumors, and they may just be rumors, and maybe there won't be any monies out there, but there have been rumors of some funding for municipal shovel-ready projects like this. And if we can get to that stage and have that stuff ready, we might be able to get some of this done or all of it done at little or no cost to the town. And that's always what I've been trying to do.
Yep. Okay. So we'll ask Dave to see if we can set up probably a virtual meeting with VHB for the full select board. Now, our next meeting is the night before our townwide vote.
Yeah, we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't have that capability that night, Mary. So probably would be best to be 4 weeks, because we're going to meet at the school that night. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay, so we probably should do it the first meeting in June, I think, would be good.
June 6th. So if
Yeah.
we could do something, then that would be terrific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And that would give them, yeah.
Yeah, because the plug got pulled, 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey and
And,
I voted
if-
against pulling the plug.
Yeah, if Matt has any questions, Mary, if Matt has any questions about it, he can call me and I can try to bring him up to speed.
Okay, that'd be great. He's busy eating his whoopie pie. Oops, shouldn't have mentioned it.
That's right.
Save you one, Joe.
I could tell you that I could be having chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting, but that's not on my diet either.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you very much to both of you for following up on this. It's a relief to see it back on our agenda again. So good. Good. Okay. Any select board questions of our road commissioner?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you all.
Thank
Joe, I'll
you
leave
very
a copy
much.
of this email on your desk.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bill Sweet, Town Administrator. So how was the game?
Always exciting.
What?
Did they win?
Oh, they're still playing.
Not long.
Well, no, they're done.
They're done.
Okay. Well, they have a hard stop at 8 o'clock. So, but
Okay.
they were having a lot of fun.
Good.
Fortunately this one was close. All right. Looks like we've done a few things so far, so we're in not too bad shape. The other new business item that you had in the packet was the safety grant application.
Yes.
This is something we've been doing annually. This was letter B. So the grant this year is again a 100% reimbursement grant, except they did lower the limit this year. So they've been $10,000 in years past. This year it's $7,500. So I put the message out there to all the department heads about items. Dave was the first one to get back to me, and he asked for something that took the whole thing. So he got there first. So this is a sewer inspection camera. The quote we have was $7,545.06. I went to them. It was actually originally more, and I got them to. I said we really have a budget cap of 7,500. They gave us the battery pack for free and reduced the shipping charge. So
Great. Okay.
But we do need approval from the board to submit it to VLCT.
I am a big fan of sewer cameras, I got to tell you. So is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Motion's
And
made.
you're
and
authorizing
seconded
her to sign on behalf of the board.
We are out
Yep.
there.
to-
I heard that too.
To approve the passive grant application for a sewer cam for our highway department. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. So that's
Which am I? Am I the senior municipal?
you are, yes. This is your senior municipal official.
And I won't have snickers about the senior status, please. Thank you.
Not at all.
Most experienced or highest ranking senior official.
Okay, it's in the green folder.
Thank you. It's a pretty big green folder tonight.
Mhm.
Also in the packet, we had the copy of all the town owned land that was letter D.
This is just FYI, because it occurred to me as we were talking about the 29-30 acres that we own other acreage, and we've got some newer members of the select board since we distributed this before, but food for thought here, folks. Okay, so we own bits and pieces of land all over. So
The warning for the parcel that has been of interest lately is online. It's gonna be in the paper this week. So that will be out there we asked for sealed bids to do by the end of the month. So we'll see what we get from that. Minutes from practically every committee met in the past 2 weeks. So there's lots of minutes for meetings. The last item in the packet is from the building committee. There's 2 different items there. That's from the building technology committee meeting. Joe or Kurt, did you guys want to talk about that?
I think you know it best.
You. You're the committee. So there's two things there. One is, we've been systematically going around and updating office furniture, and mine was last, and then Vermont Correctional Industries closed. So I went looking for vendors on the state contract list. I found 3 of them, and they all came in, and this one by far was the best price and the closest to what I was looking for. So we kind of covered in the minutes, but this is part of a just updating things. The counter would be removed and the desk would go in instead. So the old desk and the counter would come out and this would go in its place. So that's
When was yours?
hasn't been.
Yeah.
It's when the police office was done.
Yeah. That seems like just yesterday.
No.
2015 and finished up in 2016 because that's when I came on the board, and there was a lot of things missed, and so the configuration of that office might have suited Bill's predecessor, but it doesn't work good, and there's a number of reasons why. So Kurt and I looked this all over, and we would recommend to the board that we move ahead and purchase this furniture in the small amount of, I think we got to do a little bit of carpeting in there and some wiring, but it would be our intent to ask the board to move forward with this. So I'll make that as a motion.
Okay, motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Question, where's the money coming from? And can it come out of next fiscal year?
It absolutely would. My master plan is this is going to take place the first full week of August, because I'll be on vacation. So everybody that I have at this point, if you approve this, I have 4 people lined up to come and take care of their various parts of their tasks all during that week. It's all.
And you'd be here?
I will not be here.
You will not be here. Okay.
Not be here. I will prep as much as I can to remove all the things that I can remove, and then Bernie Valenti's going to come and take the counter out. We have electrician going to fix the outlets. We got the carpet guy, and the desks coming would come at the end of the week. So it's a.
Where was the budget line for that?
It could come from building improvements. There was money there's money in there for that, or building maintenance, or we could do capital improvement, but the building maintenance will more than cover that.
That would be by recommend. Yeah, Kurt and I would recommend, I believe that came from the building maintenance for this year. That's the way we paid for most everything else.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, and one more possible amendment. Would you authorize the chair to sign on behalf of the full select board?
Sure.
Yes. I will.
Okay, so that's the motion all put together now. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Nice bit of work, everybody. Thank you very much. We got to keep Bill working.
Me too.
That's the
Yes,
goal.
it's helpful.
Yeah.
It's going to really kind of change the whole flow. So, the other thing is, this had come up a couple meetings earlier about the phone system for the office. So, we talked about that, and this is an agreement to acquire a new phone system from Consolidated, and there's a lot of benefits to it, but it's actually going to be less expensive per month for a phone system than we're paying now, because when you have copper phone lines, there's taxes and fees, regulatory fees that apply. When they're digital phone lines, it does not. So we actually are saving quite a bit of money in just taxes and fees. This would completely replace what we're using now. And I have already started reaching out to some people to see if they'd be interested in acquiring our existing hardware. And we could use that to offset some of the costs. So.
Okay, so building committee,
Yes.
say you.
Pretty much we feel like we should go with this new phone system. It's not gonna really change our monthly cost that much. It's gonna cost us $500 to put it in place.
Okay.
So, and we'll have something that's serviceable, unlike what we have now.
Yeah.
Since we can't get a hold of anybody to
I'm really
service the
disappointed that
phone
that's like
system.
this.
That was really bad.
It's also worked between buildings. So like a call coming into town hall could get transferred to the police station once that's built. And some other features like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it is definitely expandable down the road. So
So,
no,
oh,
you can't. Yeah.
let's just hold it a minute. Here's the thing.
Pass it over.
That's gonna
So
go away.
is that a motion, Kurt?
Sure. So move.
And to authorize chair to sign?
Sure. Yeah.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded. Discussion.
If you take the copy out of the green folder, it's all flagged ready to sign. You're gonna want that.
Because I'm senior, right?
Lots
That's
of
the
pages.
thing.
Okay. I went through a lot of flagging stickers for this packet.
Yeah, you did. Okay, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
All right.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
I'll vote yes.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of flags there.
The other thing, Bill, that we've got going now that we're talking about building, Kurt and I and Bill will be meeting with Ed Clark tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to take a walk through of the downstairs and get that rolling.
Yep, we have a list of topics that we talked about from that meeting. We have a list that we've already started on, so that's gonna be part of that. But yeah, we're making progress.
So years ago, we had an open house art show downstairs and we had a flip chart up and we asked people for their ideas on what to do and comments. Do we still have the notes from that?
I don't have the chart, but we
Yeah.
have the topics. Yeah, I mean
Okay, good.
it was remodeling that meeting space. It was
Yeah.
adding a kitchen, adding bathrooms. Like it was the things we've been talking about. So, yep. And I talked to Lori from the fire district. She was here today, and West Rutland is having their vote in September. So they'll find out in September if they're being acquired by West Rutland, and they all very much hope that they are. So
Okay. And that would eliminate one of the offices downstairs.
there's one the office. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would gain that space back to do something. So
Okay.
The big-
I did see there was one eliminating the unused staircase.
yes.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
So there's two staircases.
Oh, okay.
There's one.
It's on the other
Really?
side.
Yes, it's so the closet where they have the drop box, things like
Yeah.
that. That's closed in, but that was the staircase that went downstairs the other way. Yeah, Joe to tell us, he's like, yeah, you used to go in. There's two staircases. It's still the staircase is still there. There's a wall downstairs with a sub panel in front of it now. It's all closed off, but that's a tremendous amount of space that
Yeah.
is just wasted. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's
I would love to come over for that. I don't know whether I'm going to be able
9
to.
o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay. I'll see. I won't interfere with the committee's functioning, but
Come on over. It's one part.
No, you don't consider that interference, Mary.
More the merrier.
I don't see participation in things of this nature. If you remember when we started back in 2016, when I joined the board, you and I were part of that committee, and that's when we started really talking about this. So your input and anybody on the board and anybody else, we've got a couple of hurdles. The board is pretty much would really like to save that ceiling, but that's where probably the greatest amount of lead-based paint is. So we are going to have to be very creative to try to figure some stuff out. There is some asbestos down there. We've got a couple of things done, and so we're moving forward, and we're going to need to brainstorm a little here, because I would really like to save that ceiling. We just got to figure out how to do it.
okay. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I really like that ceiling, but wouldn't you know, that would be where the lead paint is.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that
okay,
paint is
topic.
that paint's older than all of us probably put together, because that building's been there a long time.
You used to go to school here, right, Joe?
Yes, I went to school there 7 years.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, feel free to come over and we're meeting with Ed, and it should be an interesting conversation. So, we got confirmation the other day that the MERP grant, the $4,000 grant, we were awarded the grant. Grant award paperwork to follow. Barbara and I talked about it, and she just wanted to make sure that, we, on the record saying that we wanted to use it to hire a consultant to determine alternative energy and energy efficiencies at the building. So that was our intent for the grant, because when you apply for it, you don't actually say what you're going to use it for, but we want to say that what we're using it for. So that's
Okay.
Is that still our intent?
MERP, Municipal Energy.
Resilience program.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
MERP.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good.
So we got that. Sidewalk easements for the post road sidewalk. We have one signed. The school board is meeting tonight. They have theirs to approve. There is one more, and I'm having some challenges finding the resident. The car's been there. Two different cars have been there. I've gone there and knocked on the door, and nobody so far. So, I'm it's the last one, and it's the smallest one, but we gotta have it. So,
yeah.
So I'm still trying, but it's 1514. I've been on there twice the past 2 days and can't find anybody. So
You got 1506?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We don't need that one.
Oh, we don't.
We need the school. We need the school. We have Hudson. We need this one. He said the rest of them we don't need. So
The number on the door for the 1506, and I called the number, and I don't speak that language.
Okay. Well, when I was talking to Kevin about it, he said we don't need that one. So
Okay.
we're good. The police committee meeting, he said maybe this week we would, if it's this week, it's going to have to be Friday because with 48 hours to warn it.
Right.
So
This week's probably better.
Yeah, let's look at next week. Okay.
that's fine. So just you let me know and we'll get it done. To Mike, you had asked about why you were down so far on the list. So the department head reports the order in which goes in is always a interesting topic that is among
Were you
discussion.
crying?
And so I've kind of made just a decision that this time it goes in alphabetical order by last
I
name.
get it.
So it's going to rotate once. So I will stay last, but next meeting, Dave will go first, and then Mike would be last. But the week one after that, Mike will be first.
This is
so we'll do.
This method has been tried multiple.
Listen,
I always seem to get.
I've said you can bribe me to get on top of it. Nobody bribes me, so I'm just making the determination.
This gentleman has preempted any effort on my part to set the agenda. So, okay, so it's not me.
If you don't like it, you can change it. But it's always why am I last? Well, all right, fine. So everybody's going to get a turn. I always go last. There's a mountain of minutes from committee meetings. Does anybody have any questions on those? I don't think
I'm just cruising through. It looks like transfer station committee. Oh, well, that's the next item. Let me ask this, Bill, any select board questions of our town administrator? Then we'll go on to committee.
Was one other thing I put on the desks, the appointment information. So those are the town appointments that are still open that we don't have anybody candidates for. So this is what I was going to put out there in the world to ask people about. So does anybody have any questions or comments or changes or anything for that?
No. Okay.
So that will be what we'll advertise, and we'll see what we can get for
Thank you.
interested parties. That is everything I got.
Okay. So let's slide out questions of Bill beyond what his report is. Joe, have you got anything?
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Okay. Committee reports. Anybody else? Kurt, Sharon? Okay.
Good. Okay.
Let's go on to committee reports. Public safety. we approved those minutes actually as a full board because we were kind of meeting as the full board. So those are taken care of. That was the meeting where we met to discuss public safety building and technology. We've just heard your report and done the matters that you brought to us. Fire committee met, the minutes are there. I was cruising through and we don't have any action that requires select board approval, but Sharon and I were there. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay. Takes care of that. The scholarship committee, that would be Matt and Sharon. They have a chart and a recommendation for us on scholarship recipients. So I would entertain a motion without naming names on this. Entertain a motion to approve the scholarship committee's recommendation for recipients of the 2023 Rutland Town scholarships.
So moved.
Motion's made.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Motion carries unanimously. And thank you for a really good bit of work. I've done this in the past. I know that's a lot of reading and actually some pretty emotional stuff that some of these kids brought up. So
Wow.
Kids, young men and women.
Well, you had cheapskate over here and I give away the farm over here. So we kind of split it.
Perfect combination for
Yeah, it
committee.
was.
All right.
It was. My heart bleeds for everybody.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a heart.
Rough.
That's the two.
Right under the bus, both legs.
Wow.
No, he did a great job, especially for a first timer.
Well,
So he'll be so happy to go to Rutland High School and to MSJ and hand out. What concerns me is we had nothing from Proctor, nothing from Otter Valley. And I just am concerned, were the kids notified? Because the last time we found out, without mentioning a school, that the kids hadn't been notified.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sad. And then I did tell them that we wanted to revamp that questionnaire.
Yeah.
And you did really do a good job.
Okay.
I just like picking at you, Matt.
What you don't know is, well, maybe you do, but this is a three members here, either former or present members of Rutland South Rotary Club, and we basically lifted the original form and the scholarship grading method, which has served us very well.
But as you know, when you start reading through them,
Oh yeah.
you go, oh geez, I don't know, maybe I tweak this or that, because
Right.
you don't always. The rubric isn't always completely responsive to capturing things that you see, and people don't always complete it the same way. So the more we can get people doing it in a uniform way.
Right. And I think we need to have them tell the kids, please answer all the questions.
Well, I mean, my view, if they don't, then they slide
down.
further down the
Right.
list. So
Right.
yeah, unfortunately, but that's the consequence. So thank you for a nice bit of work there. If you need anybody now, Kurt helped us out with, you'll recall the last scholarship presentation at Rutland High School. He was a tad bit late and it looked like he was marching in with the graduates, but
Happens.
yeah. Anyway, if you need somebody to come in, and Proctor's, well, you don't have one for Proctor.
No,
That was
just
free
Rutland
food.
and
I'm just saying.
MSJ.
Okay.
I'll do MSJ, you do Rutland.
To do that.
Okay.
Well, you went to Rutland. I went to MSJ.
Oh, perfect. All right.
So we can do it that way.
Transfer Station Committee. This would be who do we? Matt Getty and Kurt Hathaway. We got anything that you want to call to our attention?
Recyclable's expensive.
Yeah.
And we're trying to devise a plan for a Out there at the transfer station. I think it's probably gonna involve some sort of, probably a 2,000 gallon holding tank. And that will
Okay.
have to get pumped, but
All right.
we're gonna keep chugging away at that.
Okay. Anything, are we going to be adjusting costs for the punch ticket?
We'll be reevaluating at the end of the fiscal year when we have final numbers.
Gotcha.
We talked about entertaining a user fee to cover some of the recyclable increase. But no emergency to do that now.
The next year's budget got adjusted, so we should be fine for next year's
Okay.
budget.
Okay. Well, thank you much for that. And highway, we've already covered. So that completes our project list. So down under action, and I'm deliberately avoiding our project list. We'll get to that in another meeting. Action needed. We've done A, the safety grant. B, we've taken care of that. The digitalized land records, we discussed that and we haven't acted, so we're holding on that. Annual appointments, Bill presented that and we will be advertising.
I actually have one annual appointment.
Okay.
I'd like to appoint Byron Hathaway as one of the 3 fence viewers.
Is he willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Byron as a fence viewer. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Byron Hathaway as a fence viewer? You okay with that?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Okay. Motion carries unanimously, so we have a fence
Yes, my
viewer.
poor husband was that.
Okay. Is there any other new item of business to come before the select board? Okay, and I don't think we need any executive session. I think we've signed everything. Nice bit of work, everybody. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Not yet. I have one comment I'd like to make before we adjourn.
Yes, please.
And well, it should be under old business, but we didn't have any old business tonight. And that has to do with a parcel of land at Northwood that belongs to the school. And I want to thank Lynette Gallipo for her email to the board. And then I had a very lengthy conversation with her at the municipal office building following up on that. And as you know, I brought up about why isn't that all under one roof and one ownership? And the explanation is quite simple. As long as the school owns that property and uses it for recreation or whatever we're doing with it there, our neighbors that have their waterworks up there cannot take that land by eminent domain, which they would like to do to protect the waterworks. I believe that if the municipal side of the government owns it, which would be the board and whatever, they would be able to do that. So that has cleared up something that I have questioned for as long as I was fire chief and sat in on the meetings and as long as I've been on the board. And I really want to thank Lynette for coming forward and explaining that to me and hopefully to the rest of the board and to our satisfaction as to why this was set up that way when the land was purchased and how it was divided up. Very important facts to know and be aware of. So thanks, Lynette.
So, yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Well, not knowing anything about this area of the law, that seems like a very bizarre rule to me.
That's kind of
So I wonder if this is something we need to revisit perhaps in the next fiscal year to make sure that that's correct and not an urban legend.
Yeah, it's fine with me, but that is her recollection. That is her account. And, you know, Lynette spent a lot of years on that school board. So, I try to think that that's why that was set up that way initially. But, if it requires further research, that's fine. But it just kind of explains the situation, at least to my satisfaction.
Yeah.
So here's a question. You guys kind of charged me with talking with the school board chair about opening discussions on this. should I read this as, don't do that right now?
No, still talk with them. Because if anything, maybe we could set up a 100-year lease from the school so we can do recreation our way and not have to.
Now,
I think
missed
to Matt's
part of it,
point,
but I know that Mike Rowe was looking at moving the pool up
Yeah, yeah,
and then moving the dog park down where the
Yes.
pool is.
yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, I just need direction. You want me to go talk to the chair of the school board?
Yeah.
Why do you
I,
got to?
I don't think,
I'm
I
just
don't think it's
asking
gonna
because
hurt.
it's
Right?
election. Okay,
I think
okay.
we should definitely research this all out for sure.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
somebody said,
we need to make,
What a
Yeah,
better
it's-
place for the pool than up there.
Yeah.
A lot flatter.
It's Tina.
somebody had said to me at some time, I don't remember who it was, but that was owned by the school because at one time, I think in the 90s or something, we were looking at the possibility of building a high school.
A high
Yes,
school, that is
yes.
exactly right.
That's
Matt-
a more plus.
Matt, it was even before that. It was probably in the late 70s. I was part of a committee, with, Roxy Hathaway and a whole bunch of other folks that looked into purchasing, and that's why the town purchased that land. We weren't happy with being part of the Mill River School District because we were, I don't remember how many entities were there, but we were sending most of the kids, or a good portion of them, paying a very large portion of the operating expenses, and had a 1/5 say or 1/6 say, and that didn't set well with the folks at that time, and that's why we researched the idea of putting a town high school up there, and that land was purchased at that time. I don't know how it got divided up the way it is, but there may be some actual factual matter to why it's divided the way it is, but research on it would not be a bad idea.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Ed?
I don't know if you discussed that about it brought my attention to the land up in Northwood. The city wanted to, eminent domain, take it over.
Yes, that we actually, Joe just went through some of that, so. thank
Yeah,
you.
that's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fishing for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I thought
Motion's made and
yeah.
seconded. Do you have something
I
else?
think we had the motion already out.
Did we? Okay. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you all.